Hey y'all, welcome back to another F1 video on this lovely, let me say again, lovely Tuesday. In the F1 news world, McLaren dropped delivery today. Now, I'm not going to cap to you guys, that shit looks the exact same. I don't really know what they changed. I think like the back bumper, top back bumper, whatever, it's like a different word. I think it's like dark something, dark tame, something like that. But outside that, the delivery looks the exact same. Now, is that delivery we are going to see? But I thought like they were like officially releasing their like livery like on Valentine's Day or like next month, I thought. But if this is a livery, I'm not gonna cap. This is gonna be the last place on my F1 livery list for the upcoming season. If this is it, nah. I mean, it looks the exact same. Now, obviously, has been like the main color for McLaren for the last few years. So, it's staying true to their colors, staying true to their word, but it looks the exact freaking same. And yes, I'm rocking the beanie today because it's cold as hell outside. But hope you guys are doing good and amazing, doing very, very well. I missed you guys as I always do. Also, if you guys did not check out the pit stop video, I've been seeing it's been getting very, very great love. Shout out to you guys who have all watched, who have all liked and subscribed to it. Much appreciate you guys. But today we are back with he was banned from F1 after only 4 races. Now I don't know who this really is. I feel like I do. I feel like we kind of seen like a clip of this, but shout out to Daily Fuel Up. All credit goes to him. We are finna check it out. We are finna see what's on. Always don't forget to like the video and sub as well. That is enough of me talking. Let me shut the hell up and let's get started.
From causing a horrifying crash to not even being allowed to test the car by his own team, this man's story is one that, though often untold, is absolutely jaw-dropping. Over the years, more than 400 drivers have earned the coveted super license, a necessary ticket to competing in Formula 1. While not all of them reach the pinnacle of the sport, at least they could boast the merit of having the potential to do so. However, there is one instance that involves the only driver in the sport's history to have their super license revoked, Yuji Ide. Back into
I feel like we kind of know. I feel like I've seen this name. Yuji Ide. But 4 races? Nah, we gotta see what happened. We gotta see what
2006, Ide wasn't a household name in the racing world. At the age of 31, he found himself catapulted into the top tiers of the sport, courtesy of the newly formed Super Aguri team. Led by former driver Aguri Suzuki and backed by Honda, the team was eager to showcase its Japanese identity. Takuma Sato, a proven podium finisher, secured the first seat. However, fatefully, the second seat was reserved for another Japanese driver. And so, seemingly out of nowhere, Ide got the call. His racing history, while certainly respectable, wasn't exactly dazzling. Starting in Japanese karting, Yuji Ide achieved regional and national victories before entering the Japanese F3 scene in 2000. In his debut full season, he secured 2nd place with 2 wins, but would slip to 5th in the following year with 0 wins. Ide then tested his skills in Europe's French F3, achieving a respectable 7th position in a predominantly French field.
It's still crazy how many like different like Formula series there are, like a French F3, a French F3 series, probably a British F2 truck series, a British F4, like it's just so many like different like racing series. Like I'm assuming they're all like I guess related to F1 to a degree, but it's just so many just different racing series in the world.
2000 to 2002,
cool.
He also ventured into prestigious events like the Pau Grand Prix and the Masters of F3, including races in Macau and Korea. Ide was in his 6th year in F3, and that's a long time to be spending at that level.
Yeah,
Drivers in F1 usually make it up the leagues a lot quicker. Results were at best average. While he did manage to win 1 race, he finished 7th in the championship. To put things into perspective, his teammate, Renaud Durlot, a name so obscure he didn't even have a Wikipedia page, outscored him by 100 points while securing 2nd place in the standings. In 2004, he shifted his focus to Formula Nippon, claiming 1 victory and finishing 3rd overall. The following year, Ide won 2 races, but would eventually fall short of Satoshi Matayama. In all fairness to our protagonist, he faced several hurdles upon joining the new F1 team. First off, Super Aguri 2006 season, while keen on showcasing its Japanese identity, was based in the UK with a predominantly European staff. Ide, who spoke only Japanese, found himself struggling quite a bit when trying to communicate effectively with the team and provide valuable feedback to the engineers. Secondly, like many new teams, Super Aguri grappled with the challenges of getting their car ready for the upcoming season. Ide's preparation for his grand debut in Bahrain was limited to a mere 27 miles of testing in Barcelona, with the team viewing Takuma Sato as their best prospect, especially given his proficiency in English. Sato took the lead in setting up the car and resolving any issues before the season kicked off. This relegated Ide to a secondary role before he'd even raced. In the Bahrain Grand Prix, Super Aguri.
So my guy was basically already like, because obviously they brought him in with Soto to be like the two main drivers. Then we're in preseason and it's like he's already looked to it as like the secondary driver. Like, she's like, come on, boy, get at least a race or so. Like, give my boy a chance. Like, she's. But you can kind of see it wasn't really going to be all sweet. It wasn't all be all smooth sailing. It's obviously because he was struggling, like with Formula 3 stuff like that, and how long it was taking him, to move up the ranks. But obviously, with the preseason testing, like we have seen with Williams, I think like a few years ago, like also I think Williams had like some issues, like not having the car ready. I think it was in Haas 1 or 2. Wouldn't be surprised. Now we see with this team, they kind of the same issues, and yeah, so let's, it's not a very good start for Buddy.
Aguri's debut wasn't exactly one to write home about. Their car, unfortunately, held the title of the slowest on the grid. Takuma Sato, the more seasoned of the Super Aguri duo, clocked in at 137.411, a solid second and a half behind Thiago Monteiro's next slowest time. Now, Yuji Ide, well, he took a more leisurely approach, trailing 2.8 seconds further back at 140.270. And if that wasn't enough, he had already raised eyebrows for failing to check his mirrors and exhibiting some rather unpredictable driving. If you've seen the onboard footage of Ide during the Bahrain practice, you'll notice that his chosen racing lines into the corners weren't exactly ideal. Despite a small miracle that spared Ide from claiming the last spot on the grid, thanks to Raikkonen's mishap, he didn't fare much better by the first corner. In fact, by lap 11, the leaders were already lapping him. To add a touch of comedy to his misfortunes, Ide's first ever pit stop turned into a fiasco.
So can you really blame Ide for that? Like, but no offense, 11 laps in, anybody get lapped? Is that mainly the car? Because like he said, like the car was the slowest car, like, but 11 laps, anybody get lapped? Is that more for the driver, or is that like the car? I think both ways. It's kind of poop, but. I mean, that's crazy.
He struggled to figure out how to engage the car in neutral, prompting a brave mechanic to reach into the cockpit and sort it out. This torturous affair reached an anticlimactic end on lap 35 when the engine decided to call it quits. On to Malaysia we went, and unfortunately for Ide, the trend continued. He found himself at the tail in every session. He remained over a second behind Sato's times, lagging behind everyone until his throttle called it quits on lap 33. And then it would be at Melbourne where everything really started boiling over. In the first qualifying session, he seemed blissfully unaware of Ruben Barrichello closing in behind him, inadvertently ruining the Brazilian's lap. Barrichello's swift reactions prevented a disaster, but the incident didn't sit well. This escapade not only did Ide's reputation no favors among the bigwigs in the sport, but also didn't earn him any points with his ultimate employers.
I still don't understand why F1 just doesn't have one car at a time, just do qualifying. But I'm only saying because of like instances like this, like obviously Barrichello couldn't really get past, but it messed up his own time. Like you can't really blame Barrichello for that. Like that's my only I guess knock about qualifying at times is like it could be like a bit too many cars all trying to have like the same lap time, stuff like that. So now if we do if it's like 2 or 3, I guess, or just however, but like that's just me. Like
Add insult to injury, Ide's qualifying time was a jaw-dropping 3.3 seconds slower than Sato's, leaving many wondering if the guy should even be allowed to race. True to the pattern, Ide found himself starting at the rear once again, and though he finally did the unthinkable and finished the race, he was a humbling 3 laps behind, even being lapped by his teammate in the same car.
Hey,
adding a touch of cruelty to his struggles, the team decided to offer Ide no running at all in the test preceding the 4th race at Imola. Instead, they once again favoured Sato to take the wheel, still, perhaps in their own way, they knew what was coming for Ide. At Imola, Yuji Ide found himself snug at the bottom of the grid, over a second and a half adrift from Satos in the same machinery. By this point, Ide was growing frustrated with being dead last every single time since the season kicked off. Ide was wondering what exactly it would take for him to compete, for you to subscribe, for the team to trust him. The pressure must have been mounting, but then, on the first lap, something shifted in Ide, a determination to break free from the tail end. He opted to make a move, diving down the inside of Christian Alba's Midland car, and all hell broke loose. However, in what can only be described as a misjudgment of epic proportions, Ide miscalculated his braking on cold tyres. The consequence? A brutal collision with the Midland, propelling Albers into a terrifying series of barrel rolls that ended with the Dutchman upside down in the gravel. The crowd went silent. The same thought went through everyone's head. Not again. Not at Imola. It was a heart-wrenching moment, with the pit crews and pit wall watching on in tense anticipation. Fortunately though, Albers would emerge unscathed to a collective sigh of relief. He had survived a horrifying crash, and as if fate had a sense of irony, Ide's suspension called it quits on lap 22, solidifying his spot at the rear once more. The FIA had seen enough. Ide's evident lack of pace had already raised eyebrows, but the incidents involving Barrichello and Albers were the proverbial last straws. The governing body, citing Ide as a danger to his fellow drivers, took an unprecedented step and revoked his super license. I need you to understand, this has never happened in F1. Revoking his super license may have been harsh, considering that there have been more destructive drivers in F1, but the FIA had done it, and this would shadow Yuji Ide all his life.
You know how bad you have to be for the FIA to step in? They had to revoke Buddy's super license. Look at me. They had to revoke his super license. That's crazy. That is crazy. But no, he's got to be the worst driver ever. He's gotta be the worst F1 driver ever. Like, oh my god.
Undoubtedly, this decision caught Ide off guard. He had already announced his preparation for the next race at the Nürburgring by watching old race videos. Given the financial constraints after just 4 races in Formula 1, Yuji Ide found himself effectively shown the exit door. His refuge became Formula Nippon, where unfortunately he couldn't replicate the modest successes of 2004 and 2005. Over the next 4 seasons, Ide mustered a meager 9 points, securing a best finish of 13th in the championship. In Ide's stead, the Frenchman Franck Montani took over at Super Aguri. The team seemed to grasp the obvious. Running 2 Japanese drivers only makes sense if there are 2 capable Japanese drivers available. While it might seem tempting to chuckle at Yuji Ide's F1 stint for the sake of sensationalism and clicks, let's hit the brakes for a moment. There's more to Ide's story than just being a racing punchline. Post F1 expulsion, Ide returned to Japan, but the road back wasn't a smooth one. The problem? He never quite recaptured the form he had before entering the world of Formula 1. In 2007, he stuck around in Formula Nippon with the Autobax racing team Aguri Arta, owned by none other than Aguri Suzuki himself. During that season, Ide managed a 3rd place finish in round 5 at Suzuka, showcasing glimpses of his past prowess. Ide then became a full-time driver in Super GT for Team Kunimitsu in 2008 and 2009. His victories at the 2010 Poker GT Summer Special and a 2nd place finish in the 2008 event stand out on his GT racing resume. However, his Formula Nippon endeavors in 2008 and 2010 were marked by little points, with only 3 occasions making it onto the scoreboard. The reasons for his dip in performance remain a bit elusive. Perhaps the F1 rollercoaster had taken a toll on his spirit. While he might not have been on par with the skill level of his peers, and let's not forget the less than stellar car situation, Ide could have been a genuine contender in the GT scene. Unfortunately, a rough year in a struggling team, a lack of trust, coupled with the pressures of not being a standout talent, can do a number on one's morale. Racing, it seems, can be as much about mental fortitude as it is about speed and skill, and Yuji struggled with that. Yeah, I know, I said Mazepin was the worst of all time, and though Ide would certainly give him a run for his money, I just think circumstances and time favoured the Japanese a little less. And you have to consider that when drawing up any arguments for who was worse, Ide just couldn't cope. That being said, if you want to know about one of the most resilient drivers of...
I think... Yeah, we can all make fun of Ide, stuff like that, but I think a good thing, but like you said, like the mental aspect of that, like people clowning you, like basically got kicked out of Formula One, basically. And my boy, he was probably like mentally, like struggling. Like then he tries to go back home and not really seeing the same success unless and outside of like a few like different competitions he was in. Like he managed to come like a third one year and like he get like some race wins as well. So it just sucks. This Formula One didn't really work, but I think the team itself didn't really help because the car sucked anyway. And the car wasn't great itself, but he didn't really add anything with that. Like he didn't really help along with that. Like like we have seen bad cars. Like we've seen bad cars before, but for him, like it was. It's not funny, but it's messed up because obviously he got kicked out of F1. It's just crazy how it got so bad FIA had to step in and kick him out. But like I said, but if you go back to the beginning, you can kind of see like early on like how long he was struggling to get promoted up, moved up. So that kind of had like a little like foreshadowing, like you kind of predict it. But that's damn, that's pretty crappy. That's pretty poopy. Anyway, hope you guys did enjoy the video. Don't forget to like the video and sub as well. Take care, stay amazing. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.